Hey guys, vintage Gillette President looks very much like the Aristocrats, but Aristocrats were never silver. And there's a couple of small changes as well. If you search for President and me as a username on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find my other one where I kind of went into some of those. Inside of it, let's put a black, 7 o'clock black Gillette Super Platinum. Now on the outside envelope, I see one dot. Oh yeah, there we go. This has, looks like about 12 uses on it. I think it's a pretty good blade for me. I haven't used one of these a lot. The count on this blade may be the sum total of the 7 o'clock black that I've ever used. Okay, he's in the razor. The soap we're going to use today, Oud Santal from Pere, Lucien. A French soap. And it says, it might even be a vegan soap. It's one of those awesome containers. Steel, stainless steel. It is 200 grams, so that's a little different than a lot of the other tubs, and it is more expensive. My last shave with this base went really well. So let's see what today brings. Get my face wet. Earlier today, I got my face wet doing a demo video, a quick lather of Mitchell's wool fat with a new razor to me. I'm sorry, a new brush, the Macedo 30 millimeter finest badger. And it's one of those where it didn't splay a whole lot, but the tips were super soft, and because it was a big knot, it was still very enjoyable. All right, I think a 40-second load is what I'm going to try today. Let me shake out most of the water here, and then we'll start at the next round number. So we'll start at 30, and we'll go to 70 on the time counter, which will be 10 seconds after the next minute. Sometimes I like to say these values out loud, not because you need to know when I'm going to stop necessarily, so that I remember myself, because usually I try to talk through the 30 seconds or 40 seconds if something strikes me, and so often I will lose track if I don't have it in my brain through a little bit of audio memory. All right, and 40 seconds is right there. So not a lot of soap appearing on the brush. So Santal almost always means sandalwood as far as I know. So and then oud is a scent on its own. I like it in several different soaps. This one is, not your typical sandalwood, not your typical kind of American type scent where it's, leather and something else. This is definitely has a perfumey kind of French note, or not perfumey in a feminine sense, but perfumey in a cologne, type scent. It's not super strong from the lather here. I sometimes have had an LPL lather that wasn't really optimal. The last time I used it, it sure was nice. Hard water here at this location, and I have oily skin, and I'm using cool water during the shave. So my oily skin usually will allow me to not necessarily have to have a balm afterwards, although I do find it enjoyable after a shave with a kind of a rough blade or a setting or aggression level on the razor that is a little more than I usually like. Pick this Omega brush. This is a 20102. 2 teaspoons now of water in the lather. Pick this brush because I just want to put some uses on it. I like it. I'm hoping that the tips will soften and remove the prickle, will leave it. It'd be nice if I could identify which bristles were giving me the prickle and cut them out, you know, because I don't think all of them are. It's got a nice long loft, and that is probably given to it because it has a good bit of backbone for the bristles. If it would have had a centimeter less loft or something like that, I think it would just be super stiff and difficult to work with, and very kind of scratchy and hard to display and all those words. I'm not really great at identifying the oud. The sandalwood is not really identifiable. If you like the traditional sandalwood authentic scent, like Perazzo Red is a pretty authentic sandalwood to me. There's a few others out there. Captain's Choice, no, it was something else that was Lather and Wood, an old puck I got from a long time ago, was pretty accurate, and I really enjoyed it a lot. But especially so many of the British and European makers, D.R. Harris, you know, and Taylor of Old Bond Street, their sandalwoods are just, that tradition, that authentic wood sandalwood scent just isn't really to be found in there. They put so much in there to change it, like make it perfumey and that sort of thing. They've done that here. Fortunately, I don't think it's feminine. I think must be the oud. It must be more oud than sandalwood. Lather sure looks pretty good. Just take a feel of it here. Oh, nice and slick. Yeah. Now it's not dripping off of me or anything like that. You know, you can still see how it's keeping its shape. This one, I think, may be one of the soaps that is a little nicer if I... Oh, you know what? I ran it too dry last time. Let us add a little bit more water. My notes were I ran it a little too dry. So maybe this one will benefit. 3 teaspoons now of water. There are definitely some soaps that will feel like I need to quit adding water, but it's almost like they have a 2-phase experience where they are. Williams is sometimes this way, depending on how I bowl lather it, where it feels too thin, but then you almost have to activate it. Keep adding water and it activates and gets thicker. Then it starts getting thinner the more water you add. And so which part of that hill, which part of that roller coaster are you on? That is kind of what you have to figure out by trial and error. That's where, yes, oh, says this looks great. And I thought I may not want to add more water than that. But that is nice and slick. Kind of a creamy feel to it for sure. I think I'll go ahead and use that. I do have a prickly brush, so I'm going to err on the side of not being too wet. All right, water on my face. So the Mitchell's Wool Fat Lather cleaned my face up today, so it's not, right now it's not going to have as many oils as it usually might. So the first pass might be a little more constructive. Now I definitely get some of the scent right away come up to my nose here as I start lathering up. We have already got some of this lather playing around with me. So it doesn't take long to lay down a nice layer, but we actually do want to work it in a little bit. Make it kind of connect with your skin, top surface of your skin, so that it can protect you. This does feel a little dry. You know what I'm going to do? I got my spray bottle here. Instead of spraying my face, which I've done before, I'm going to spray my brush. Let's try that out. Because I like bowl lathering, and if you kind of miss with the estimation of the water and you kind of run it a little too dry, then you can kind of end up having to act like a face latherer right now, having to add water to your lather. If it's just a little bit, it's not a big deal. Oh yeah, look, see, I have just tons of lather available. Spray my neck a little bit. So a couple of sprays does put on a good bit of water, as you can see there. So maybe I was a little heavy-handed there, but it needed some water. This lather's acting a lot nicer now. Hello, friend. Well, remember when I looked at the product that was on the brush after loading? I said, man, that doesn't look like much. Well, a little goes a long way. Sorry about that. A little goes a long way with this soap. All right, President. He shades very well for me so far. I haven't used him too many times. Oh yeah, this is a good blade for him. No tugging at all. Very smooth shave. I've been using my feather lately that has 55 uses on it or so. So I'm used to feeling. I've been hunting around for a razor that can shave well with it. And I found my Fat Boy, and it works very well. But this is a whole different ball game right here. This is a young blade, and he is out to prove something. He's doing really well. Quick, comfy, very nice. Face rinse. Now, because I used the spray bottle, the amount in my syringe does not exactly match the amount of water I've used in this lather, but you know, it's probably about half a teaspoon that I added to the situation earlier. Just squirted in another teaspoon, and so we've got 4, I guess it's 4 teaspoons of lather in here. Let's look at the consistency now. Oh yeah, a little bit of stretch, and then kind of slow collapse. That might be a good spot for this lather. Let's try it out. Press down into the lather to kind of push it up into my brush. Don't have to scrub very much. Now that I'm past that first pass. Cross grain. I like the way it holds the blade. I'm not hearing all that much audio. Contributing that lack of vibration to make the audio, no doubt, is going to help me with a nice, consistent, smooth shave. Always maintaining a light touch, air on the side of not doing enough. And then when I kind of reapply, move the lather around a little bit from my goatee, and you know, I might even be able to get away with 2 passes. Because that little spot on my neck, that's my trouble spot right there. That's where it really is hard. It's hard to get for a long time. Yeah, my face feels great. So I'm going to quit. That kind of extra pass I did right there gave me a nice close cut, so I am happy. Yeah, that's a nice scent. I like that one. I'm glad I got it. Bought it used. Now, let's see if this milk from Mickey Lee Soapworks. This one's aftershave milk. It's called the Kraken. I think, is that their barbershop? Is that their barbershop? I can't remember. Often the milk just kind of feels like I'm making a big mess with it. I think it worked out okay this time. Not picking up any stinging or anything like that. This doesn't have very much of a smell to it, much of a strength in scent, so the strength must have faded on this one. Kind of like the label. Let's see, distilled water is the first ingredient. That's got witch hazel in it. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit of a burn now. Does it have? Oh, it's got some essential oil. Of course it does. Primrose oil. Chamomile. Goat's milk, vitamin something or other. Oh, it does have a little bit of alcohol. There we go. Soybean oil, sunflower oil, orange something, aloe vera. I was kind of reading backwards there after I mentioned the witch hazel. But, you know, they did shut down, so I don't guess I need to bore you too much with the details of this one. So yeah, the scent's very low, but I am starting to feel a little bit of maybe if there is menthol in it a little bit, or if it's just the alcohol, it's a very light kind of cooling or burning effect. It's not too much. I'm sure all the other ingredients, even though the scent isn't really in place, the other ingredients are going to be helping my skin out. So there we go, a little quick shave to get things done. So I've got 2 passes done on the face, and it looks like I've got about 3 or 4 more passes. And yeah, this needed that extra water. It was thin, and it needed more water, not to get thinner, but to activate it. It's the only way I can guess it as to what was happening. And so I could see how someone would take LPL, take this soap and think that it was starting to get thinned out, and think, hey, this is a crappy lather. You just got to push the water a little bit more. I think Barrister Man Reserve does that a little bit sometimes, but I'm really happy with this lather. Put another use on this, so that's good, because I'm trying to get him to catch up with my other boars, because I'm really interested in watching him grow with the others and be able to compare him. Let's take a look at this lather that's left over. Looks great. The feel is terrific. It's almost feathery in the softness. In terms of contact slickness, you know, it's not a buttery type of slickness, and I find that is often the case with vegan soaps, because they just can't get that without maybe the tallow. But it's very slick. So I mean, it's not buttery slick, but it is a kind of slick that will be effective for protecting you. I certainly felt it on my face in terms of razor gliding effortlessly across, fast, but with protection. I don't have any kind of irritation or nicks or anything like that at all, any tenderness. But this lather feels terrific. It's got a nice, a light luxury feel to it. but it doesn't feel airy. It feels a light creamy. So I would definitely, if it sounds like a lather that you might be interested in, I would maybe try to pick some up, and if it's a little too expensive for you, look around on the used market. That's I think I nailed it in terms of the consistency, because it is wet, very hydrated, but it is still, and it's still very slick, but with a creamy feel. And that's exactly kind of where I like it. Wet, but right at the end of the creamy, where if you keep adding water, it stops being creamy. That's right before it gets to that point, is where I like it. Playing with lather. Now all my faucets handles and stuff got lather all over them. All right. Yeah, I'm really happy with that scent. Now I think I might be starting to smell some of that Kraken. Well, now I got the lather on my hands now. All right. Well, I'm going to clean things up. I think I just used 4 teaspoons of water. We should probably add another ½ teaspoon for the sprays on the brush. And so that's about how much water, and 40 seconds of loading. And that was a little bit, I could definitely go with 30 seconds next time. With this kind of brush, it's got a little prickle in it that can help it to pick up some more soap. And so 40 seconds might be a good number if I have a really soft, small bore brush that has just a lot of lack of backbone, a lot of bend in the bristles. And so it's not like this one. Less density, might mean I have to spend more time in the soap. Or if I have a super soft silver tip badger with also with not a lot of backbone, 40 seconds might be the right amount for that. But for a firm badger, like a finest with some backbone, for this particular bore brush and any that are like it, then maybe 30 seconds of loading is going to be a little bit more accurate and economical. There's several brushes out there that I purchased, like a Thader level 1, a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. The pictures just didn't show the scale. It was very tiny. This is the opposite. Very few times has that happened, but this guy had a lot more loft and is a bigger brush than I thought. And it's worked out to be great, and I'm glad. He does bend. He's easy to splay while you're shaving, but he's definitely got some backbone. There are some black fibers in there that you can see. Several of those have already started to split, so they do split, or at least they do have the capacity to. And there are a good many bristles and tips around that are splitting. So he's on his way. He still had a little prickle tonight, but not very much. So that's cool. I also wanted to say that a couple of you guys have mentioned in the comments that a dentour might be cool. My question to you is, what's a good format to do that? I've seen guys take a big table, put all their soaps out, and that's mostly what I have. I do have, I do have a bunch of razors too, but I have a lot more soaps, and I have some razors and brushes to a pretty good number, higher than average, but my soap count is quite high. Like last count, I think it was on the order of something like 330 or 40 or 50 or something like that. I could put them all on a big table or a cleared off bed or something like that, and then just kind of pan. I've seen some guys just pan across them, that sort of thing. I don't know what would be good to do that. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it, but I thought I'd put this little portion in this video in case anybody's listening to help me come up with ideas for when I finally have the time to do the den tour, show you my soaps and stuff, what format, what style might be good to do that. The panning, I can't really think of anything else. I could do a billion little clips with me holding something, stitch them all together. That'd be pretty hilarious. All right. Well, let me know in the comments if you think about something. I'd appreciate it. I was very happy with today's shave. I'm definitely keeping this soap around. I think it might have been the first LPL that I bought because I knew that I like sandalwood and I thought I like oud, and I like the scent. I can't really describe it very well. I just kind of grabbed stuff today. I looked down in my bag of stuff that I want to try. Either I haven't tried it in a long time, or it's something special, or I haven't tried it yet, and that's just kind of the one I yanked out. And then I'm glad I picked the black, the 7 o'clock black, because he did really well today. He's a good blade. I think in several of the razors that I have, he has been performing well. Now, you get nice wet lathers, and it's a breeze to just rinse and clean your razors because there's no buildup. And so this is what I like to do after I shave with a twist to open razor. Just kind of dry off the handle here, have him open and run my finger in the middle of the slots there. Of course, the blade's not in there. And then underneath, just trying to get all the droplets out. And then I'll let him sit open while I kind of do the rest of my gear and take him back to my office. All right. Well, the Kraken, I think, has lost his scent, but I don't think he's lost his real function. My skin feels great. It's not greasy. It's a very nice aftershave product. Unfortunately, discontinued now that Mickey Lee has closed their doors. All right, a good shave. Like the soap, and nice performing soap. Brushed it reasonably well. And there we go. I sure hope there was something in this shave that has helped you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.